Everyone, Maurice saying here. Welcome to Things Invest, where we're going to be talking about investing, finance, and professional development. For today's video, is for entertainment purposes only. The stock that we're going to talk about today would be NIO, ticker NIO. As you know, NIO is expected its earnings call on Thursday, April 29th next week. The first part of the presentation, I'm going to go through the recap of what happened last week and some of the foreshadowing catalysts that we should also be looking out for. Also, I'm going to give you guys a catalyst list of what's going to be happening or what should be expecting this coming week as well. On top of that, I'm going to give you guys my quantitative technical analysis to go through where I see the stock trading going forward, how do I see the price fluctuate going forward, and my price target for NIO for 2021 as well. So stay tuned, stick around, and let's make some money. Before I dive into the quantitative analysis and go through the numbers, if you may, I want to just talk more qualitatively about what happened with NIO last week. So the time duration that you see here in this list of 5 durates from 4/19 all the way to 4/23, so basically last Monday to last Friday. And the orders of magnitude in the 5 bullet points are not, really in specific order. They just kind of came in more of a chronological order, start from the first one all to the last one. And the 5th bullet point is more just a macroeconomical factors that we need to look out for. So that's more like a side bullet point, right? So the first one that came on Monday, as you know, the Shanghai Auto Show is durating from April 19th all the way to I believe on next Wednesday, April 28th. So with respect to this auto show, NIO has reviewed these 2 initiatives. One is the new power plant, the Blue Sky Lab, with respect to their EV charging station infrastructure, and also with respect to the vehicle, the ET7, which they reviewed their interior design, how it looks like for the first time. The second catalyst that we heard sometimes last weekend actually is the Tesla driverless autonomous vehicle car crash that occurred in Texas, which subsequently killed 2 people, unfortunately. And this obviously has a negative affectations to people, to obviously the government officials with respect to the concepts around just driverless technology, right? How proven is this concept and how safe is this technology as a whole, knowing the fact that it did kill 2 souls. So that obviously had a negative correlations to the Tesla stock, which dipped on that day specifically. And I recall it dipped about 6% on the day, which dragged NIO down a little bit, but it didn't drag as much as severely as Tesla. I believe NIO dropped about 3% the day off on Monday when we got the news, but it subsequently, recorrected itself and rebounded ever since ahead of the momentum. Obviously with respect to the earnings call that we're expecting for this coming week, right? And that goes to my third point. Tesla's Q1 earnings call is scheduled to be debut on 4/26, which is Monday after market hours. So as you know, based on Wall Street consensus and based on just media affectations and retail investors' appetite so far, it seems like the earnings is going to be beat for this quarter. Which is expected based on the production numbers. With respect to this positive outlook that they foresee that's the stock to be trading, it subsequently propels some buying power around the stock, which subsequently propel Tesla upward to be trading at one point about $740, I believe, on Thursday and Friday. And this momentum has a correlation, obviously, to NIO, which subsequently also pushed NIO stock price up to about like the $40 level. So we actually hit that $40 resistance, and we actually breached that to get even the more above that to 41 something now, which is a great another momentum that propelled the stock, right? Another catalyst that you see on the 4th one is the Biden proposal. So, the Biden speech occurred on Thursday, and with respect to his proposal on the corporate tax adjustment, basically doubling our corporate tax, basically doubling our capital gains tax, obviously has a negative correlations to the stock price and, investors' consensus as a whole, right? With respect to the increase in tax yield, it's going to subsequently hit the bottom line very significantly, right? We're going to have, we as investors going to make less money because we have to pay higher tax dollars. Corporations going to have a lower margin, have a lower profitability because Biden required that these corporations pay a high tax rate. Obviously, it's a negative news overall. So it's something that we need to watch out for. But again, in my previous videos, I mentioned that with respect to all the stimulus checks that we've been getting, with respect to the COVID reliefs that we've been getting from the government, from the Federal Reserve, being the printing machine, for the last 1 year so far, the money has to come from somewhere. We have to basically come together to solve this. And this is just one of the first pain points that we're going to be getting. I foresee this to be passed through, with this new tax adjustments. We're also going to get like highway tolls, higher cost for transportations, higher highway infrastructure costs for you to get through tunnels, higher education even, possibly, or lower subsidies, and just a lot of income squeeze across the board for Americans going forward. So definitely a negative one, right? On the fifth one is some of the more macroeconomical things that we need to look out for, right, with respect to sector rotations. Seems like last week was more of a shift among managers from more of the large cap stocks to high growth and small cap stocks, which subsequently drove that rally across the board. With respect to the 10-year Treasury yield, we've been seeing some sort of, kind of a decline so far last week. Hasn't really fluctuated that much, and one of the key catalysts of driving the rally that we saw on Thursday and Friday after the Biden proposal was that the 10-year Treasury yield was actually declining on Friday, which subsequently drove that rally as well. And on top of the last one is the monetary policies. We just need to look out for some of their progressions with respect to the discussions between U.S. and China, knowing the fact that NIO is a Chinese company, and if there was any policies that can threaten this the relationship that we have with respect to the trades on our exports and imports, there's a possibility that we might obviously with a higher import tax rate, we might even, if the relationship further deteriorates, we might even get the listing Chinese companies in the stock market, which I foresee that to not likely to happen, but that's a possibility. And I think that's just something that more of a black swan event or something so far out of the left field, so exogenous that we just need to look out for as investors. Going through the NIO catalyst for this week, I would say most of them are very positive that we see here, with the last one, which is the fifth one, more of a exogenous black swan macroeconomical drivers that we just need to look out for. And those are the things that can hinder the stock price, but in terms of like affectations towards the business fundamental of NIO, I would say there isn't really. It's just it's just part of business maneuvering, right? It's just as a business, as operators, you have to maneuver all of these macroeconomical trends. We go through market cycles, we go through different adjustments with respect to tax yield, with respect to rotations, with respect to policies between countries. It's just a course of the game. So it's something we need to look out for, but nothing really to worry about. But with respect to the top four right here, some of the catalysts that I see here are all positive on the top four, with the number 5 as more as a asterisk, as a call out that you need to just look out for. First one is the Shanghai Auto Show, knowing the fact that Auto Show is going to end by Wednesday. Between on Monday to Wednesday, we might hear some further news from NIO, on their latest developments, maybe something around like the European expansions, maybe something to do with their strategic partnerships that they might be expanding more from Sinopec to more other oil and gas station industry companies. We don't know, but more to look out for. And I think we should hear more positive news going forward, just because of the fact that NIO's earnings call is sometimes on Thursday. So some positive media affectation to further pump the stock price wouldn't be surprising to me, or negative news depending on how the media wants to play this game this time. So secondly is the Tesla earnings call is on April 29th after market hour, so contingent on the how we trade afterwards, contingent on how the EV outlook's going to look like going forward from the Tesla management team. We will see. But based on just consensus so far, we do know that Tesla have basically beat their earnings this year. But right now, I would say that the valuation is pretty much baked in based on media consensus, based on Wall Street consensus, based on just public investors' consensus as well. So I do foresee us to rally exponentially on Monday, but subsequently a sell-off. Not a correction, but just a sell-off to take profit afterwards, knowing the fact that we've been kind of pumping this for the last 2 weeks so far already. Contingent on how that plays out, that will have a positive correlations to the NIO stock on Monday. So I do see a green day, a very green day, during the day for NIO stock, and we'll see how that goes after market hours. Another thing is the NIO's earnings calls on April 29th after market hours as well. So it's basically a couple of days away from the Tesla call to the NIO call. So obviously, NIO currently has a lot of positive media affectation going on right now. The stock is trading above the resistance level at 41 right now. And contingent on the Tesla earnings call and contingent on how the news gets shakes out afterward, we should see even more of a higher push for the rest of the week for NIO. I foresee us to have some sort of a dip after the Tesla call, right, and then it slowly get bounced back up on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then subsequently Thursday. So I see like a green day on Monday, the whole day. After market hours, it might dip, right? It might just rally like crazy, and then subsequently, if it dips on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, it will just rally all the way up. And I think the next level is going to be like around the 50s levels or $47 level, which is still a good upside game for here. So I definitely see a positive overall momentum play for NIO next week. That's great for us investors, and also good for traders as well. If you're looking for more of a momentum play, like buying a call option, it wouldn't be surprising to me if that's something that's what you want to do. And also the fourth one, which is a positive one, CLSA, which is I believe a broker. They have their initial coverage on NIO, and they have their price target on $50 per share, which is obviously still higher than what we're currently trading at right now, right? So that's definitely another good indicator. Again, right, the fifth one, this is the more of the black swan factors that we just need to look out for, and these are just out of our control because this is driven by countries and driven by government officials, right? How they want to deal with our money, how they want to deal with our economy, right? So firstly is the Biden tax adjustments. We heard from Biden that he wants to adjust our tax rates by doubled. Obviously, we'll learn more about how that shakes out this week because he hasn't confirmed it yet. So another thing that we don't know would be sector rotations among fund managers. Are they thinking about shifting the dollars from more recovery stocks now, or are they shifting more dollars to large cap stocks now? How they want to shake that out, because like these type of rotations can obviously hinder the stock price just based on simple supply and demand dynamics, right? The other one would be 10-year Treasury yield. Knowing the fact that last week we were on a decline, kind of trading downwards. So this week, if there's any spikes in the yield, that could also hinder the stock price as well. But I don't foresee us to be spiking anytime soon. I mean, the 10-year yield is really out of our control. We have no visibility into how the bond traders are exchanging their bonds, right? And how their supply and demand flows are looking like either, right? So that's just something to look out for. And whenever there's a spike that causes the stock market to dip, it's just a more of an economical, shift. It serves as a buying opportunity for me, so that's just something to look out for. And then the last two would be the monetary policies. They're still discussing, and the tension between U.S. and China are, slowly percolating, slowly building up. So we see how that shakes out with respect to our exports and import tax rate adjustments. We'll see how that shakes out. And lastly is the chip shortage. Obviously has the strong correlations to all these EV companies, including even mobile phone companies like Apple, right? Or some other gadget companies as well, right? Chip shortage is not just hindering the EV market, it's hindering all the electronical gadgets or machinery makers. So there's something to look out for. Overall, I would say Next week is more of a positive week overall in terms of the exogenous factors that we have here, and also some of the positive momentums that we also identify here so on. Moving on to the technical analysis on NIO ticker NIO. Looking at the daily chart right now, you could see that ever since last year, when we were in December time period, we rallied all the way up from this whole EV boom. So we hit all the way to $67, and then we consolidated sideways, and then ever since the Q1, Q2 correction that we saw across all the EV companies, we dipped back down to the $30 level. So we hit that one resistance level of the 31.91 once. We rebound with this dead cat bounce basically. And then subsequent to that, we retested this level again at the $30-something level, $32 level. So we got back up again, and we retest this again. So we retest this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So retest this is 4 times. So the extremely strong resistance level that we're forming at the $33, $32 level. And ever since then, we are seeing a rally right now with respect to obviously the momentums that we are seeing, with respect to the auto show, with respect to the momentum that is kind of baked into the Tesla earnings call on Monday, and also with some of the latest catalysts that is also propelling NIO stock to go up, like the Sinopec partnership, like the European expansions as well. So all great positive catalysts that's pushing the stock upward right now. You can see that right now we are slowly going back up and forming a reversal with this extremely strong resistance level at the bottom. Just take a look at the RSI right now. You can see that we are not really overbought and not really oversold. We're just at the optimal level, so I see more room to run up from here based on just the RSI on a daily chart. You can see that MACD has crossed right now. It's definitely a bullish momentum that's propelling going forward. So definitely all great signs, right? Again, right, we corrected so much already by like 75%. We formed 4 bottoms basically, ever since from last year all the way to this year in Q1, Q2, right? 1, 2, 3, 3 bottoms. Now we're slowly coming back up. So the chart is extremely bullish right now, I would say. In terms of like how bullish on a scale from 1 to 10, I would say this is like a scale of 9.5 of bullishness. So I do foresee us to be pushing upward very, very, very soon. So the prediction that I have would be something like this. So on Monday, I think we will keep pushing up, and we'll push up all the way to like somewhere around like the $45, $50, $46 level. And as we learn from the Tesla earnings call on Monday afternoon after market hours, I think we will see some sort of a correction slightly, dip back to this level at like the $41 level. So I see a push up on Monday, right? We come back down to maybe a $42, $41 level. We consolidate, and then we will see another push upward before our Thursday earnings call with NIO. So it's gonna look like a zigzag, like once to the 46, downwards to the 42, 43, and then come back up by earnings call on Thursday. So I think we can possibly retest the $51, $52 level by sometimes like end of this week, by Thursday or Friday. It wouldn't be surprising to me, knowing the fact that, again, right, the RSI, we still have a lot of room to go. We have crossed the MACD, 3 resistance at the bottom. It's a very bullish chart. I'm very happy that I have a large position at a relatively low price range right now. So just take a look at the tip ranks right now in front of us. You can see that with respect to the Wall Street consensus, out of the 10 analyst ratings, we have 7 buys, 3 holds. And with respect to the average price point that they have projected for us, they have a $61 target for us, which is going to be about close to 50% of an upside from here if you think that we will get there, which I highly believe we will actually get there, but even further than that. On a high level, they assume more of an 81%, which is like a 80% of an upside from here if we get there. I actually think we might even get higher than 81. We might even get to 100 or 95 somewhere around the end of the year, or at least 12 months out. And the low case is basically the 3880, which is obviously we're trading above that right now. We are above by like 3-4% at the moment. So great momentums overall. Definitely a bullish target based on Wall Street consensus so far. Just take a look at the NIO Institutional Ownership as a whole, how investment managers have been buying NIO so far, right? So looking at the reporting dates, you could see that multiple of these hedge funds have been buying every single day at a relatively large amount of portion shares on a daily basis. And you could see that this report dates from April 23rd, basically last Friday, this Friday that just passed, all the way to like February. You could see that several of these managers have been buying and loading up on NIO so far. You could see that Berkshire Capital bought close to 500,000 shares. Raymond James bought 112 shares, 12,000 shares. And you could see that Lorient Capital bought like close to 1.5 million shares. And they're just been loading up. Charles Schwab bought 1.4 million shares. And ever since then, for the past couple of weeks, I would say even months so far, they've been loading the hell up ever since the whole dip. You could see that the volume is definitely, increased because of the whole rotations, because of the whole sell-off that we saw in EV. And that's when you see a lot of these investors like just loading up, which makes sense, right? You always buy on low, you sell high, right? So definitely a lot of good, strong bullish signals that's also propelling the stock to go north going forwards. So which is great. You can see that Deutsche Bank bought 14 million shares, UBS bought 6 million, Healthcare Ontario Pension close to 8.5 million shares. So very impressive volume that we're seeing across from various different sophisticated investors so far, which also gives me confidence, knowing the fact that these people are not just dumping money for the sake of dumping money, right? They are full of research analysts. They've done their homework. They're putting their money where their mouth is, right? So that's another good bullish signal for us investors. To recap on all the numbers that we talked about today, I think NIO right now is a fair price. I think anywhere around like the low 40s is definitely a good price if you think about this in the more of a long-term perspective. So on Monday, I wouldn't be surprised or I wouldn't be shocked if you decide to buy some shares, ahead of the Tesla earnings call, if you want to buy NIO instead of Tesla, right? So definitely a good price point for you guys to buy in. If we go below 40 again, I think 39.50 is another resistance level that we saw. It was basically the tester level before we breached that $40 level, resistance level that we've been forming for quite some time now. So that's a good price for us to get in, and I foresee it to reverse quite significantly and sharply if we ever hit this level. And if we ever hear some other crazy stuff like the Biden tax adjustments, like 10-year yield spikes or some crazy black swan events that happens again, we might hit the $36.50 level again. But I think the likelihood of that would be very unlikely, knowing the fact that just on the technical analysis, we've been over so many times now, and the bottom resistance level is very strong. And with the full bottom tested at the $33 level, to go back to $36.50 would be just not logical at all in terms of the momentum that we're seeing, and also with respect to a lot of the major positive catalysts that we're seeing right now with respect to this week and next week. For us to get to 36.50 in the next 2 weeks will be just unlikely. I would say the possibility would be like 1%. But if we get there somehow, I would just load up even more. I mean, I already have a ton of NIO. I have close to 8,000 shares right now. And if we get there, I might get to 10,000 shares or even 12,000 shares for God's who knows, right? But that's a very, very cheap level at a huge significant discount, right? If we ever get to like that level again. And I loaded up a ton when we were around that level a couple of weeks ago. My price target for NIO is going to be above the Wall Street consensus at $81. I see we will potentially get to the $85 level sometimes in December or November this year. And if we get there, that will give us potentially, if we're buying at $41.50 on Monday, we will get to 105% of return or 2 times your money. So that's it on NIO today. Appreciate you guys dropping by and listening in to hear my perspective on my recap for NIO last week, and also with my catalyst projections for what we need to foreshadow for upcoming weeks as well. So I appreciate you guys watching, and please again hit the like button, the subscribe button, that notification bell as well, and please stay tuned for the next video.